Ultimate Spider-Man issue 14 is officially out, and this issue was insane. So many things have happened, and we might actually be getting into an even worse situation than we initially thought if being hunted by Kraven in a pseudo-Savage Land area underground was not bad enough. As we might have our first real character death, we have basically a maybe new relationship for Richard. Mysterio might have his own weird concocting plans in the background, and things for the Parker family are just getting even more dangerous. But before we jump into this issue, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. I want to keep covering Ultimate Spider-Man. Things have been amazing, and I really cannot wait to see what we have in store for the future of this awesome run. But let's just jump right into the issue. And first, I just gotta acknowledge this really awesome, really cool cover image of just Peter and Kraven duking it out in the middle of the Savage Land. It looks so freaking cool. I love these issue covers. They're so amazing. This is my wallpaper now. I'm calling it. But anyway, the issue starts off saying once again that it is the start of February. As at the end of the previous issue, we had the brand new Black Cat, Felicia, taking on Richard, who is in the Picotech pseudo Spider-Man suit, basically giving the impression that Spider-Man was still around. And so he begins to fight her as he says, "Who are you?" As Felicia reintroduces herself as the brand new Black Cat, saying, "I took this place because you threw him off a building." I mean, he technically didn't throw him off a building, but it is what it is. As Richard says, "Look, I don't know who you think I am, but you got the wrong guy. I don't even know your dad, and even if I did, I wouldn't push him off a building." As Felicia says, "Just because you got a new suit doesn't mean you can hide from who you are and what you did." As Richard says, "Okay, that was close," as he keeps dodging all of her attacks, avoiding every single blow from her. As he says, "And I feel like you're not listening to me." As Felicia says, "I feel like you're lying, because I know you are Spider-Man," with Richard saying, "I'm telling you the truth, and you have everything wrong." As he does something that Spider-Man should never do, but it's Richard, he's doing his own thing, as he has the Picotech suit reveal his face, saying, "You know what, never mind, I'll just show you. I'm not Spider-Man," waving his hands in the air, saying he doesn't want to fight. As Felicia asks how old he is, as he just says 15 and a half. He then asks Felicia, as she says she's almost 17, so basically 16 and a half, with Felicia saying, "You're not really Spider-Man, are you?" As Richard says, "Yeah, I said that. Exactly the way I was supposed to." And he just says, "I was direct, I was empathetic." As Felicia then notices from how he talks, "You read a lot of books, don't you?" As he says, "Yeah, I read a few," and he introduces himself as Richard. As Felicia just introduces herself as Felicia. And that's kind of how we end that interaction for now, before we just jump back to it later. But we then cut back to underneath Manhattan, 5 miles from the edge of the Savage Land, with Peter and Harry riding on top of giant velociraptors. And this is definitely a really cool image. I wouldn't be surprised. Jonathan Hickman, before writing this section, just really watched a bunch of Jurassic Park movies or Jurassic World and was like, "You know what, I want to have Peter and Harry riding raptors." But through this whole montage of them walking around, getting the lay of the land, camping out, and just trying to survive in the Savage Land, all Peter's repeating to himself is, Kraven knows about MJ and the kids. He knows about MJ and the kids, as he keeps repeating what is at stake. This is what is on his mind. He's more worried about getting out of here and protecting his family than he is about himself. As Harry says, "I'm worried we're lost, Peter." As he says, "Are you listening to me? Hey man, you need to focus right now. You need to focus on that and nothing else, because we have to succeed in this before we can do anything about what's out there. And you need to come to grips with that, and what happens." With Peter saying, "Don't tell me what I have to do, Harry. I know what I have to do. I know in what order. We have to escape first, then hide our families, then you suit up and we take care of business." With Harry saying, "And then what? Do you really think you're going to be able to hide from these people forever?" With Peter saying, "Like you said, let's focus on them now. I'll worry about it later if we get the chance." As it's then that the raptor they're riding on gets shot in the head, as we see Kraven waiting in the wings with a sniper, getting ready to shoot at Peter and Harry the best chance he gets. Harry is pinned under the raptor, but Peter picks it up, and in that instance, Kraven then shoots at the raptor's head, destroying its head. Peter and Harry begin to run away behind a giant rock to protect themselves from Kraven's sniper rounds, as Kraven every now and again just keeps shooting at it to try and provoke the pair. As Harry says something's up with his leg, he might have busted it. Peter asks if he could walk, and Harry says, well, I have to, right? As Kraven keeps shooting at them, Peter tells Harry that we've got to get to cover in the jungle. It's not far. Can you make it? With Harry saying, I'll make it. As Peter says he'll go and distract Kraven, while Harry makes a run for it. And it's in that instance that Peter just gets away from cover in open space for Kraven to shoot at him, provoking Kraven to shoot right at him, as Kraven's like, who am I to deny a man what he wants? Peter's spider sense begins to go off as he tells Harry to run. Harry runs as fast as he can, with Peter being able to dodge every single bullet that Kraven shoots right at him. And in that instance, he manages to get away for the time being and meet up with Harry. With Harry saying that what Peter did was just really stupid, but Peter says, I think I can sense when he's about to shoot at me before he does. And what's good is what works, so let's not overthink things. We just gotta keep moving. As Harry says, I'm not sure I can make it. I'm just gonna slow you down. With Peter saying, well, I'm not leaving you behind, Harry, and you don't want me to. So just cut this out, we're both getting out of here together. As a voice from off in the corner says, oh, that's quite doubtful. As the Mole Man appears, saying, at least not without some help. He then taps his staff on the ground as a bunch of Moloids come out from underneath a secret passageway, saying, fortunate for you, I am a man of means, especially in this place. As he doesn't seem to be trying to attack Peter and Harry, as they're wondering what he's doing, and how he basically opened up a passageway. The Mole Man says, this is my domain, my refuge, my place of peace, and I do not care for this current disturbance. As Harry says, you're one of them, aren't you? With Mole Man saying, I am more of them than with them. But yes. Harry says, so why would you betray the Kingpin to help us? As Mole Man says, oh no, I would never dare do such a thing over such things as you. But the Kingpin knows not of Kraven's excursion. So, as for why I would help you, that's really none of your business. As he leads them to an open passageway to try and get the way out, as Peter and Harry say, can we trust him? Yeah, no. So it seems like the Mole Man just doesn't want anything to do with what Kraven's doing right now and doesn't want to get caught up in it if the Kingpin finds out. Or hopefully the Kingpin won't find out what Kraven's doing so he doesn't get implicated or whatever and just have a bunch of stuff just get ruined for him. So there's that. But when Peter and Harry leave, Mole Man says, good luck, young heroes, but I fear that you're almost out. Okay, what are you doing here? As then Mysterio appears. And I can't say this enough, I love Ultimate Mysterio's design. It looks so damn cool. Better than his baseline comics design. As Mysterio says, oh, just observing this dangerous game you're playing. It's surprising how delightful. As Mole Man says, I never should have told you he had them, and I certainly should not have told you that they were here. With Mysterio saying, but you did. And any regrets you have, I promise, are pure folly. You did the right thing, and I will not forget it. As Mole Man tells Mysterio, I wish you would, and we should also forget the insane plan of yours. The closer we get to our day of action, the more I fear it will be the end of both of us. Is there no fear in you at all? I don't see how... Ugh, gone and without a whisper. And this is why I'm afraid when the time comes, will you disappear when I need you most? I think you just might. You Moloids cover that up and then hide yourself and the others, with Mysterio disappearing and implying that Mole Man and Mysterio have some grand plan, some day of action the two of them are colluding and having planned. Whether it's to usurp the Kingpin and gain his true power over Manhattan, to try and just get all of his territories and work together, or something else. I don't know, but it is interesting to see that these two characters have some plan in the works, and they don't want Kraven screwing it up. And Mysterio is definitely the conniving person in this group trying to get everything himself. And I'm curious to see what the Master of Illusions is going to end up doing. But we see that Kraven is actually spying on them. He sees Mole Man and Mysterio and knows where Peter and Harry had gone off to. And aptly, the final words of this section is Mole Man saying, "There is danger everywhere. Predators are loose in this jungle," telling the Mole-ites to hide and close up the entryway. But that's where we leave off with the Savage Land for now, as we cut back to Richard and Felicia for a singular page of Richard and Felicia having a nice little conversation. Now, I'm not going to go over everything really quick in this conversation, word for word, but essentially Felicia is just opening up to Richard about the situation she's in with her father being thrust in a position that she didn't want to, that her father's been training her for all this for her whole life. Essentially, Felicia being like, okay, I guess my dad is a supervillain, and Richard saying, despite the situation, I'm kind of glad we ended up meeting. Felicia asks, what does your dad do? Mine's a supervillain, I guess, but the AI copy of Peter's consciousness in the suit says for Richard to be careful, as he says, I'd love to tell you, but I'm a superhero, and that means I'm supposed to protect the identities of the people who are close to me. As Felicia says, well, now I'm really curious. And I love how this is going on while the sun is rising. And honestly, it's a nice little conversation, which honestly, this version of Felicia is around Richard's age. Definitely, she's a 100% different character than the Felicia we know in mainline continuity. And thankfully, it's not too weird. I feel like this could be a relationship going forward in this comic, similar to how Peter's did in the mainline comic with his version, with that version of Felicia and that version of Peter. So I guess that could be a thing, especially if Richard ends up becoming a pseudo Spider-Man with the tech suits, maybe becoming the future Venom like everyone's theorizing for all we know. I don't know, but I do feel like this is going to lead into something further down the road, and to maybe flip Black Cat into being more of a hero or something. I'm not entirely sure, but this does have interesting implications for the future of the series. And now we cut back to Peter and Harry as they're setting up a trap for Kraven with the bombs that was around their necks from the collars that were around them previously, getting ready for when Kraven appears that they could at the very least slow him down with this trap that they set up. But Peter ends up saying, look, we're close to the edge, we could probably get out of here right now. But Harry tells him, I still say we should stay and fight the guy. Put an end to the problem, cut it off at its source. As Peter says, we've talked about this. MJ, the kids, Gwen, they're just out there unprotected, no idea what might be coming after them. But Harry pauses, catching Peter's attention, as Harry essentially reveals that Gwen's probably not in danger, saying that he has a type of insurance policy that is pretty rare, that essentially makes it so that if something happens to him, if he's ever kidnapped or disappears, people will be protecting her in secret, to the point where Gwen wouldn't even know. So, despite what's going on, Gwen is most likely 100% protected, at least in his mind. And apparently, since it's invisible for the person being protected, this was actually created and set up by Otto, and Otto probably set it up as soon as Harry disappeared, but he said that he was going to have this done for Peter and his family, but Otto doesn't know who Peter is because Peter kept his identity a secret from Otto because Peter doesn't trust Otto, and rightfully so. If this version of Otto ends up becoming Doc Ock like in the mainline continuity at some point, which he probably will be, smart move to an extent, but also right now, it is incredibly difficult because of the situation. So that is most definitely bad for Peter. As Peter says, okay, so your wife is safe and you're all good, but MJ and the kids are just out there all alone. We're getting out of here, Harry, now. But in that instance, we then cut back to Mole Man as he sees all of his Moloids, a huge chunk of them, dead on the ground. He talks to one of them, and it seems that Kraven found them and just hunted, beat, and killed them until he can find some that could speak to tell him where Harry and Peter went. And as Peter and Harry are hiding out, saying that they're almost out of here, Peter's spider sense goes off as he then gets Harry down on the ground, with Kraven appearing with a literal minigun shooting up the place. As Peter and Harry begin to run away, Peter tries and does all of his acrobatics to try and get Kraven to waste all of his ammo, which he does. Kraven then loses the minigun and grabs his sniper rifle to try and shoot at Peter, saying he's got as many guns as he needs for this hunt. There's nowhere you can run. So running will not save you. As Peter says, I guess I should stop then, right? As Harry then throws a rock over at the collar that was there, it ignites the bomb from behind Kraven, severely damaging him. But this is Kraven the Hunter we're talking about. A mere explosion isn't gonna take him out that easily. He's bloodied but gets back up, saying, "It's been some time since I've truly been tested. That was a good trap, but it wasn't enough. And I can tell that you have never hunted. Haven't you heard the saying, there's nothing more dangerous than a wounded animal?" As he takes out his knife and begins to thrust at Peter. Peter catches it, cracks Kraven's right wrist, and as Kraven is in Peter's mercy, Peter continuously punches him over and over again, knocking him onto the ground. With Peter saying, "Now I need to understand, there's only one way this could end." And before Kraven can reach his rifle, Peter picks it up, saying, "You hurt us. You bled us. You learned everything you could about us. But you didn't really comprehend what you were hunting, did you? Did you really think you could kill someone like me with a gun?" As Peter then cracks, breaking the gun in half with ease with his super strength, saying, "You know what I understand now? I know what the line is, because you crossed it. No one goes after my family. No one." As he relentlessly punches Kraven, with Harry in the background telling Peter to finish it, that he has to. And Kraven only smirks at Peter as Peter lowers his fist, knowing that he can't cross the line, saying, "No, I'm not like him. We're not him. He's going to forget everything he knows, leave our city, and never return." As Harry, rightfully so in this situation, is like, "What are you talking about? He's a killer. That's what he does. He won't stop until he wins. It's him." And as then Kraven begins to pull out a revolver, takes it out, as Harry says, "Or it's us." And in that instance, Peter notices the gun, as then Kraven shoots, hitting Peter in his stomach on his side. As Peter, bleeding out and injured, is confused. He didn't sense anything. His spider sense didn't tell him of the danger. But Kraven only smiles, saying, "It's because I wasn't aiming for you. You were just in the way." As Peter turns around, seeing Harry dead on the ground with a bullet through his skull, as it seems that Harry has been killed. With Kraven smiling, saying, "You should have listened to your friend, for he was right. I will never stop. The hunt never ends." As Peter says, "What did you do?" As with anger and hatred, pounds and beats down Kraven over and over again. And in that instance, someone off in the distance says, "Well, this is quite the dilemma." As Mysterio appears, saying, "Normally we would be enemies, as our allegiances demand. But in this moment, that is not the case, because I am more interested in him than you, hero. For I have plans, but should he die, should choose to continue beating him to death, and his end would mean full attention would turn onto you. So I have to ask, is that what you really want?" As Peter just says, "He killed my friend." With Mysterio saying, "And like your friend said, he's a killer, and that's what killers do. So you have to wonder, if he is so good at it, what makes you think your loved ones are safe? How do you know he has not already sent someone to visit them? Honestly, what makes you think they are still alive at all?" As Peter says, "What do you know?" With Mysterio saying, "Me personally, I have no idea. But I do think you should run home now, Peter Parker. You couldn't save your friend, but perhaps you can still save them." As in a panic, Peter goes to the exit to run out of the Savage Land to head home. As then cut to later in the night, as Peter barges into their apartment with blood on the wall on the doorway, as MJ goes over to hug him and see if he's okay, wondering what happened, where was he, that she was really scared. As she's wondering, "Do you know how worried I was? How could you just disappear like that? How could you do that and not?" But then she notices that Peter's bleeding, with Peter saying, "Harry's gone. Harry's dead. I couldn't save him," with tears running down his face. MJ says, "Oh no, why would someone, what's happened?" As Peter just says, they know who we are, who we really are. They know about you, about the kids, our names, where we live. They know everything. As MJ is just on the ground saying, "You're scaring me." As Peter says, "I know. I'm sorry. I'm just so sorry." As MJ is wondering, what now? What are we gonna do now, Peter? With all Peter can saying right now is that right now, we run. As that ends the issue. I did not expect Harry to just die in this instance. I don't know if he's 100% dead. I do not know if this was maybe an illusion done by Mysterio. But all I know is that the Parker family right now, after this whole thing with Kraven, are gonna have to go on the run. They're gonna have to hide. They're gonna have to try and find a way to hide out until Peter can potentially deal with the Sinister Six, with the Kingpin. Mainly Kraven, because he knows who they are. I don't think Kraven told anybody outside of Mysterio and Mo-Man who Peter and Harry truly are. But now they also have to break the news to Gwen about what's going on, to Otto, how that's going to occur, what's going to happen. I want to say that Harry's not dead. He'll either get brought back to life by some bizarre, I don't know, super soldier serum, or by some medical technology that'll turn him into a villain or a soldier for the Maker's army. Or maybe this was all just one big illusion done by Mysterio, and Harry's still alive somewhere in the Savage Lands, and Peter didn't realize it, as he succumbed in the heat of the moment to Mysterio's illusions. But either way, Kraven's still alive, he's not truly beaten. Mysterio has some bizarre plans, he needs Kraven for his plans, so I don't know what's going on with that. But this could maybe end up being some grander scheme against the Kingpin to take over Manhattan, to take over New York. And we also have the little subplot with Felicia and Richard right now, so that could end up leading into something else, taking away one of the Sinister Six, at least for the time being. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about this issue, the implications of what just happened, and what do you think is going to happen next for the future of this run? What do you think Jonathan Hickman and his team have in store for the future of Ultimate Spider-Man? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and once more, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Now with all that's said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.